What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Country Bunkers Trains. Hope you're doing good. It's been a busy couple of weeks here in the train room. I've been working on quite a few things. I've also got some exciting news I figured I'd share with you guys for any of you that might be interested. But what do you guys say we jump right into it? Let's get started. I'm sure, as just about all of you know, the big book is out. The Lionel 2022 Volume 1 catalog. Been out on the shelves for a couple weeks now. It's a pretty good book. Maybe not necessarily their best catalog, but I do think they did a great job of offering a nice array of products for both the traditional operator as well as the scale operator. Really a nice array of product. I have to give Lionel credit. They put out a really nice MTH catalog. I kid. But no, seriously, I did enjoy this book. And I gotta say, I went all out this year. I made some pretty big purchases. Or I guess I should say, I went all out for me. I know quite a few people who are ordering multiple items out of this book, and I would love to, but unfortunately I gotta be realistic, and I gotta stay within my constraints of what my budget can handle. I do have to say, if you guys happen to see me roaming the streets during the evenings, just mind your business. These trains aren't getting any cheaper, but of course my wants, needs, and desires are not helping the cause at all. The big news in this catalog, which seems to have really stirred the pot here in the O-Gauge community, is the announcement of the new Lionel command control system, the Base 3. This seems to have really caused quite the ruckus here lately. And I'm kind of on the fence myself, to be honest with you. I'm real excited to see a new command control system entering the market. I think that's a good thing. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of great things coming up here in the future. However, at the same time, I'm in the group or the camp of people who are somewhat upset at the fact that this doesn't come with its own new or upgraded remote. Yeah, I know Lionel is still offering the Cab 1L remote to control this if you desire, but I don't see it as quite the same. I think this system deserves its own remote. Lionel is really pushing the new Cab 3 app to use in order to control this system, and it's just not my cup of tea. I've done the apps before for Bluetooth control and whatnot, and like I say, it's just not my thing. It's not near as fun as holding a remote. But that's just me personally. I understand the reasoning for it. I know why. I'm not ignorant to the current world situation. And I applaud them for continuing on and finding a way to continue to control these trains and offer a new product. But like I say, still just a little let down that there's no remote to go with this system. Some awesome highlights of some really cool pieces in this catalog that I did not pre-order, however, I might pick up when they come out, include this beautiful Aberdeen, Carolina, and Western F9 set. I mean, come on, check this thing out. This thing is beautiful. I'd love to grab this one, but ultimately for now, something else won out. But like I say, this thing is just gorgeous. The only thing that kind of stopped me, aside from the piece that I did grab, was just the fact that I already have quite a bit of transition era diesels roaming around the layouts and here in the train room. So I held out on purchasing this for now. But who knows, maybe in the future. These Vision Line stock cars with pig sound effects are really cool. I like them. I did not pre-order them because, again, I had to use the funds elsewhere. I've got the Vision Line stock cars with cow sound effects, and these pig cars would absolutely go great with them, and the missus would absolutely eat these up. I might try and pick up a set of the Northern Pacific ones when they do come out. I'm going to go a bit against the grain on this next one. These Canadian Pacific Veterans Units SD90 Max, I think these things look spectacular. I know quite a few people are a little bit upset at these as they're not exactly prototypical being the correct engine, but I love the paint job on these. Personally, the 7020 really speaks to me. I think this thing is beautiful. I really do want to try and pick one of these up when they do get released, if they do get made. I really like them personally. But anyways, what did we get, right? I said we went all out, didn't I? And by golly, I meant it. Let's get to it. That's right, guys. We've got our first Vision Line engine headed here to the layout. The new Class A. Oh, I can't wait. This thing is going to be sick. Truth be told, I've known I was going to be ordering this since it was first announced back in October at the York Train Show. I have been dying to get a Norfolk and Western engine here to the layout for quite some time. I was kind of hoping for a Y6B, but when this thing was announced, I took it as a sign. I had to have it, and I had to jump on it. And like I say, I'm so excited, I just can't wait. Which one did we get, you might ask? It took quite a bit of time picking one out. Initially, when I first saw the catalog or the offerings, my first choice was the 1210, the World War II version. I really liked the Y3 tender on this one, as well as, I guess, the first generation Pilot. This thing is a beautiful looking engine, but ultimately I decided against this one. I decided I wanted to go with a Class A that I myself have become to know, ones that I see on YouTube and old videos and whatnot, and this one just wasn't it. My second thought was number 1211, the post-1945 version. I thought long and hard over this engine. It was hard not to choose this one. But ultimately, what led me away from this one is not described as having the coal extensions on the tender, so I opted out on this one. But this looks to be a real beautiful model, or is going to be. The next option is honestly one I did not think too long or hard on, and that was number 1218, the Excursion version. This one unfortunately had one option I really did not want, and that was polished rods. The other thing I wasn't overly thrilled with on this one is the glossy paint finish that is advertised for this engine. I already have a somewhat special glossy engine coming here to the layout, hopefully sometime soon, and I didn't want to take away from that one, so I opted out on this one as well. The one we ended up going for was number 1238. This one seemed to sport all the options that I was looking for. This one came with a cast Pilot with the aftercooler. It has blackened rods. It also comes with the Class A tender with coal extensions. The one other thing I was hoping to get, which this one has, is this one has a black smoke box on the front, not gray. Not that I'm totally against gray, but I've already got quite a few engines here on the layout with a gray smoke box, so I think this one will definitely stand out. And as I say, it's the Class A that I've become to know. I didn't really care if it had roller bearing rods or not, to be honest with you. I was more looking for the blackened rods. And like I say, this one just checked all the boxes. And I can't wait for this thing to get here. That's the big news, guys. What do you think? I can't wait. It's going to be a long year eagerly anticipating that thing showing up. And it's going to be spectacular once it does. Or at least I hope, fingers crossed. What did you guys order out of the new catalog? Did anything catch your eye? Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to hear them. I do have a quick update here on the new O-Gauge layout. Not necessarily the most exciting or most fun, but it is progress, and progress is always good. We do have a little slice of the new layout almost complete, just about 80%. The sad part is only 10% of it is actually visible, if that. 90% of it is hidden. But again, it is progress, and every little step helps. I've been doing a lot of foam work here on the new layout the past couple of weeks. Been building the tunnels here in the mountain on the new layout. And I think they're coming out pretty good. I do apologize in advance. The footage that I have, it's mainly just a slideshow. But honestly, there's not much more to it to see. And as I say, it's been going on over the past couple of weeks. This stuff or this work that I've been doing isn't exactly the most labor-intensive or hardest thing to do. But it does soak up quite a bit of time. I think you guys will get the gist of that in the shots that you're about to see. The first step to get done was finalizing our inner track placement. This track is going up and down a grade. I'm using these Woodland Scenics grades, this 2% grade, and it's working out really well. The only downside is I think this grade is intended more for HO scale. It's big enough to support this real tracks, but it's not quite wide enough to go side to side from the track, as you can see. To cure this, I'm using some strips of cardboard cut to size to form the base or the top of the hill, if you will, that the track is riding on. Once all the glue had cured and dried, I took some plaster cloth and created the sides of the hill going up to the track. I think it worked out pretty good. And I'm going to continue this on the entirety of the grade going up. Once it had all cured and the plaster was dry, I went ahead and threw some brown paint on it just to hide the white. It's all going to get covered anyway, but just in case any ground cover moves or whatnot, you're not going to see pure white. We haven't even barely started and I'm already forgetting steps. This is going to be a long one. But no, one step I forgot to mention. You'll notice with this plaster cloth, when you get it in a spot where it's not necessarily rubbing up or touching anything, you'll get all these pinholes in it. If it doesn't have something behind it for the plaster to fully activate, such as here, where you can see it's a nice solid piece, you get all of these pinholes. To cure this, what I'm using is this joint compound. I'm just going over all of the plaster to cover up all the pinholes, as well as the stuff where it did activate, because it's not exactly a nice smooth surface. That's what this is right here that you can see. This gives a nice surface to sand if needed, or apply paints and whatnot. And that's what I did down here on the track. After we got our cardboard installed on top and our plaster cloth, I went over the entirety of the cloth with this putty to give us a nice space to paint. One nice thing about this Realtrax is it's very forgiving going over uneven surfaces. The built-in plastic road bed keeps it pretty sturdy and stout going over an uneven surface. I did have to install some shims though, as you can see here. I had to pull all the track out of the tunnel or the mountain in order to do my work inside, and with that cloth and putty installed and paints, it left somewhat of an uneven surface, so I did shim it just to keep it safe. Now that I'm out of the tunnel and I can work around the track, I'm going to work on leaving the track in place and put all the scenery, the cloth, and the putty up while it's in place. That way I can keep the track as level as possible. With the hill for our track work dealt with, it was time to start our actual foam work. Just using some 3/4 inch foam to build the walls of the tunnels. Pretty easy and straightforward, just using a serrated steak knife from the kitchen and going after the foam, trying to make it look like rocks that have been carved out for a tunnel. Maybe some explosives were used, maybe some jackhammers, whatever have you. Use your imagination, I guess. I will state, I am by no means an expert foam carver. There's way better people out there. This is my first go at it, but I think it's coming out all right. Gave the foam a quick paint job with some acrylic paints. Had to go pretty heavy on the first coat of gray to hide the pink, but then started adding different washes and whatnot to give it some realism. I will say, I think if we use some more colors, we could definitely take this another level up. However, I'm extremely happy with it, and it is more than adequate for inside this tunnel. I think it came out pretty good. Like I say, there's really not much to this foam carving, at least not for what I'm doing. I would add maybe it best to do this after a hard day at work, take out some aggravation with the knife. But seriously, it really isn't that hard. I will say, like I was mentioning earlier, it is somewhat time consuming. It's a lot of time. I'm sure there's better methods out there and easier ways to do this, but this is what worked for me. For ground cover in the tunnel, I'm using this Woodland Scenics Cinders Fine Ballast. The thought is, going through a tunnel, you're not really going to see much dirt or grass or growth or anything like that, vegetation. You're just going to see rock and broken rocks off the side of the walls. So I think this gave a pretty good effect. I'm using this alongside our normal ballast from Scenic Express, and I think it looks pretty decent. I might come back at a later date and install some finer details, maybe some bigger rocks and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to be installing some static grass, like weeds and stuff like that at the tunnel entrances. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I kind of did all this in stages or sections. I started on the inside of the table, built some walls and did ground cover, and worked my way towards the outside of the table. Like I say, just kind of going in stages. I did have to add a little extension off of the table itself for track clearance, as well as to support the outer edge of our tunnel porthole. Looks a little goofy at the moment, but I think we'll be able to hide it a little bit better with some trim on the table and some ground cover in the future. And here's where we're at currently. The inside is completed, looking pretty good. I did not paint the roof of the tunnel. As you can see, it's pretty dark in there. You can barely see it. And you can only see it if you're really 2 or 3 feet tall. And I think the visitors to the layout at that height aren't really going to care much if it is or isn't painted. But yeah, it looks pretty good. You can definitely tell in some spots where I could have done a little bit better on the paint. Maybe used a little bit more water in the wash, or maybe a little bit more paint in other spots. But not too shabby. Here's a look at it from the backside. Not too shabby, coming along pretty decent. You can see I'm using that spot putty to fill in the gaps in between the sections, and it's working pretty well. I still got to go over it a little bit. You can see where it's maybe the putty or the foam shrunk, got some cracks, but I'll go back over that and get it fixed. One downside to doing the foam in this manner, obviously you can't really bend this stuff to put it in a round configuration. It's pretty flat and squarish. And I tried to hide it the best I can, and disguising the seams with this putty. it is what it is, and like I say, you're really not going to see this side anyway. I am going to give this side a base coat of white to match the other side of the mountain. That way, when I go to paint this mountain in its entirety, both sides will match, at least color-wise. Texture-wise, they're going to be completely different. But again, this is the back side. It is what it is. I know a lot of people are pretty big into doing this foam work. The last time we did a video on this mountain, we had quite a bit of comments on it and how people loved working with the foam. To be honest with you, I had my fun doing it this go-around, but it's not my favorite thing in the world to do. It's definitely a lot friendlier to the wallet, but man, is this stuff time-consuming. You wouldn't think it, but yeah, just very, very time-consuming. And again, it's not so much the work itself, it's just the different steps and procedures in between each one. Each one of those pieces of wall took 2 days to make. The first day was prepping the area for it, cutting it to size, carving the rocks, putting your base coat on, and then the second day was doing touch-ups to the base coat, adding your washes, trying to get it to dry, installing it, and doing the ground cover. Oof, I had my fun. I'm glad that we're almost finished with this mountain. I won't have to touch the foam again until we get to the other side. But like I say, I can see some of the attraction to it. It is a lot cheaper than doing it this way, with just plaster cloth and rock molds and stuff like that. But I enjoyed this method a lot better than I did the foam. But I really couldn't do this method inside the tunnel, so it is what it is. You can see I did start experimenting with some more ground cover. I'm using this brown ballast as dirt here in front of the tunnel, and I really like it. It's going to look a lot better once we add, some vegetation, grass, weeds, and whatnot. I think we're going to cover the majority of the layout or this grass mat in this stuff and do our other ground cover on top of it. It gives a really nice effect. It doesn't look it right now next to all the different colors, but it looks really good here in person. What do you guys think of the new tunnel and mountainside? Let me know in the comments below. Like I say, far from perfect, but I'm pretty proud of how it's coming out for my first go-around. I think it looks pretty good. It's going to look even better after we get the rest of the mountain done up and some different details and whatnot added to it. Get some engines running through it. But that's all the updates and news I have for the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. But anyways, guys, until next time, my name is Zach, and this is Country Bunkers Trains. Y'all take care. I'll see you the next go-round.